staples.
Shaq misses the free throw here.
O'Neal made 15 consecutive free throws.
2 seconds. The clock reset. Shaquille O'Neal.
One career three-pointer, over 5,000 missed free throws. In today's NBA, that's a one-way ticket to the bench. In the 90s, it was supposed to be a death sentence. But Shaquille O'Neal didn't play basketball, he bullied it. He didn't need a jump shot because he turned the paint into a restricted zone. We're talking about a man who was so incorrect for the game that the league had to reinforce their hoops just to survive him. This isn't the story of a jump shot, it's the story of force. It all started in Newark, New Jersey, where a kid was born built like the final boss of a video game. By middle school, Shaq wasn't just taller than everyone, he looked like he had been held back 5 grades. Teachers weren't asking him about homework, they were asking him to help move furniture. But being bigger than everybody else doesn't automatically make you dominant. Plenty of big kids never learn coordination, discipline, or how to turn size into skill. Shaq could have been one of them. What changed everything was direction. A strict stepfather, structure, and one eye-opening trip to watch the New York Knicks play at Madison Square Garden. Seeing NBA players command an arena flip to switch, the noise, the speed, the power. That wasn't just entertainment, that was destiny calling collect. From that point forward, the goal was clear. NBA. By high school in Texas, Shaq wasn't refining a jumper. He was refining intimidation. He learned that he didn't need to float like the guards. He needed to move people. One missed layup once triggered a lecture from his father that essentially said, "Stop trying to be somebody else. Be Shaq." That moment mattered, because from then on, he stopped trying to finesse the game and started imposing himself on it. At LSU, the dominance became official. He blocked shots like he was swatting notifications. He dunked with violence. He controlled the paint. But there was a flaw that followed him like a shadow. Free throws. Defenders realized quickly that if you couldn't stop him, you could foul him. It wasn't pretty, but it worked just enough to plant doubt. And doubt is dangerous. Even as he became one of the most terrifying prospects in college basketball, Shaq wondered if he was skilled enough. There were polished forwards with smooth jumpers and guards who could shoot from anywhere. Meanwhile, his range extended to very close to the rim. But the NBA didn't overthink it. In 1992, the Orlando Magic made him the #1 overall pick. And from the moment he stepped on the floor, it was obvious. This was not a normal rookie. Most players ease into the league. Shaq kicked the door off its hinges. He averaged over 23 points and 13 rebounds as a rookie. He shattered backboards, literally. The league had to reinforce stanchions because of him. Orlando improved by 20 wins in one season. That's not development, that's transformation. But the weakness followed him to the pros. Late in games, teams hacked him. Hack a Shaq.
Will they be able to sustain it when adversity sets in?
And Jeff, for San Antonio, once again, people are saying a hack-a-Shaq call. I don't believe it. 5 seconds in.
Opponents would rather watch him shoot free throws than risk being posterized. Here's the crazy part. Even with teams intentionally fouling him, he still dominated. That's when you know someone isn't just good, they're inevitable. By 1995, Shaq had already dragged Orlando to the NBA Finals. Across from him stood Hakeem Olajuwon, a master technician in the post. This wasn't just size versus size, it was power versus precision, and Hakeem won the chess match.
Olajuwon for 3! 101 draw. The Houston Rockets have won their second consecutive NBA championship. They have swept the Orlando Magic. The NBA.
Houston swept Orlando. Shaq learned the hard way that raw dominance without refined edge isn't enough on the biggest stage. He later admitted he respected Hakeem too much, that he didn't go for the kill. That loss didn't shrink him, it sharpened him. Then came 1996, the pivot. Shaq left Orlando and signed with the Los Angeles Lakers, stepping into basketball's brightest spotlight.
Timeouts left. The Lakers have 2. Bryant to Shaq.
And soon, the Lakers paired him with a skinny 17-year-old with audacity for days, Kobe Bryant. 2 alphas, 1 franchise, 0 chill. At first it was awkward. Playoff exits piled up. Shaq wanted to dominate inside. Kobe wanted to prove he could take over games from anywhere. It was like putting 2 CEOs in one office and telling them to share a desk. But here's where things shift. Enter Phil Jackson, Zen master, triangle offense architect, ego manager extraordinaire. Phil simplified the hierarchy. The offense ran through Shaq, not sometimes, not situationally, through him. Kobe would get his, but the foundation was the big man. And in the 1999 to 2000 season, Shaq delivered one of the most dominant years the league has ever seen. Nearly 30 points per game, 13 rebounds, 3 blocks, MVP. He wasn't stretching the floor, he was collapsing it. Defenses had to send double teams immediately, sometimes triple teams. Entire game plans revolved around limiting his touches, and even then, it didn't matter. In the finals against the Indiana Pacers, Shaq averaged 38 points and 17 rebounds. 38 in the finals, while being intentionally fouled. That's not shooting. That's scoring. There's a difference between a guy who makes jumpers and a guy who bends reality. Shaq bent reality. He made 7-foot defenders look small. He forced teams to change personnel just to survive matchups. The paint wasn't an area of the court when he played, it was territory, and it belonged to him. The Lakers won the championship. Shaq won Finals MVP. And for a moment, everything looked aligned. But dynasties don't crumble from outside pressure. They crack from within. Because while Shaq celebrated, Kobe trained. While Shaq recovered, Kobe refined. And the tension that once simmered quietly began heating up again. The three-peat would come, the dominance would peak, but so would the friction. And when it finally exploded, it would change the trajectory of both careers. The Lakers didn't just win in 2000, they took over. The 2001 playoffs were less of a tournament and more of a warning to the rest of the league. Los Angeles went 15 wins, 1 loss. That's not a championship run, that's a system malfunction. And at the center of it all was Shaquille O'Neal. He wasn't evolving into a stretch big. He wasn't suddenly developing a 15-footer. He doubled down on what he already was, stronger, more decisive, more violent in the paint. Defenders bounced off him like they were paid extras in an action movie. In the finals against the Philadelphia 76ers, Shaq averaged 33 and 16. Every touch felt automatic. Catch, power dribble, dunk, foul, repeat. And here's the part people forget. Everyone knew exactly what was coming. There was no mystery, no deception. It was basketball honesty at its most brutal. I'm going to the block. You can send help. It won't matter. The Lakers repeated in 2002, sweeping the New Jersey Nets in the finals. Shaq won his 3rd straight finals MVP. 3 in a row. That puts you in air most players never breathe. But while the banners were stacking up, something else was building. Resentment. Shaq was dominant, yes, but he was also comfortable. He'd come into seasons not exactly sculpted from marble. He relied on in-season conditioning. He rehabbed injuries on company time, as Kobe famously criticized. Meanwhile, Kobe Bryant was obsessed, manic, competitive to the point of combustion. 2 different approaches, same goal. Eventually, that friction stops being productive. By 2003, cracks were visible. The Lakers lost in the playoffs.
Why you lost this series?
Nah, I mean, we have a million and one excuses that we could go to. The fact of the matter is, we're not going to make it.
Then came 2004, the super team year. Los Angeles added Karl Malone and Gary Payton. On paper, it looked unfair. Shaq in the middle, Kobe on the wing, 2 Hall of Fame veterans filling the gaps. Instead, it unraveled. Internal tension spilled into the media. Practices felt like Cold Wars. And in the 2004 finals, the underdog Detroit Pistons didn't just beat the Lakers, they exposed them. Detroit played suffocating defense, forced the ball out of rhythm, and turned the series into a grind. Shaq still put up numbers. He was still efficient. But the unity wasn't there. The dominance felt fractured. 5 games, season over. And then came the decision. The Lakers chose Kobe. In the summer of 2004, Shaq was traded to the Miami Heat. Just like that, the most dominant force of the early 2000s was gone from Los Angeles. The dynasty dissolved not because Shaq couldn't shoot, not because he wasn't skilled enough, but because chemistry collapsed. Now here's where the story gets interesting. A lot of people assumed Shaq's peak was over, that the Lakers years were the prime, that without Kobe, without Phil, without Hollywood, the mystique would fade. Instead, he went to Miami with something he hadn't carried in a while, a chip on his shoulder. He joined a young, explosive guard named Dwayne Wade. Wade wasn't Kobe. Different personality, different game. But the hunger was similar. The partnership felt less combustible and more complementary. Wade attacked from the perimeter. Shaq owned the paint. Simple geometry. In 2005, Shaq finished second in MVP voting. Post-Lakers, new team, new system. He was still that impactful. The Heat reached the Eastern Conference Finals. Then came 2006. The finals matchup was against the Dallas Mavericks, led by Dirk Nowitzki. Miami fell behind 0-2. The narrative started forming quickly. Shaq is older. The window is closing. Maybe the Lakers were the last chapter. And then the series flipped. Wade went nuclear, attacking the rim relentlessly, drawing fouls, living at the free throw line. But here's the subtle detail. None of that space exists without Shaq occupying the interior. Even as his scoring dipped from Lakers-level dominance, his gravity remained. Dallas couldn't ignore him. Double teams still came. The defense still bent. Miami won 4 straight. Shaq captured his 4th championship. No Kobe, no Los Angeles spotlight, just proof. Proof that you could build around interior dominance in an era drifting toward perimeter play. After 2006, time did what time always does. It nudged him forward. The explosiveness softened slightly. The minutes trimmed. He moved from Miami to Phoenix, then Cleveland, then Boston. The numbers weren't peak Shaq anymore, but the presence lingered. Even at 38, he could still command attention just by existing near the rim. But here's the bigger conversation. When people debate all-time greatness, the conversation usually drifts towards skill packages. Shooting range, handle, versatility. How well would this player translate to today's spacing-heavy game? And Shaq becomes the test case. Because he never fixed the free throws. For his career, he shot just over 52% from the line. Teams hacked him intentionally for over a decade. He made one career three-pointer. One. Entire YouTube compilations are built around that single moment. Yet he retired 8th on the all-time scoring list at the time. Over 28,000 points, 15 All-Star selections, League MVP, 3 straight Finals MVPs, 4 rings. You don't accidentally accumulate that resume. What made it possible wasn't shooting touch. It was pressure. Basketball at its core is about forcing defenses into impossible decisions. Do you stay home on shooters? Do you collapse inside? Do you switch? Do you trap? Shaq simplified the math. If you guarded him one-on-one, you were in trouble. If you doubled him, someone else was open. If you fouled him, you hoped variance would save you. He turned every possession into a dilemma. That's scoring, not pretty scoring, not aesthetic scoring, not footwork clinics and fadeaways, force scoring. And it changed how teams built rosters. Franchises signed extra centers just to absorb 6 fouls. Defensive schemes were altered league-wide. Rule discussions happened because of the physical toll inside. He wasn't adapting to the game. The game was adapting to him. Could he play in today's NBA? That question floats around constantly. The modern floor is spaced. Centers shoot threes. Pace is faster. Defensive 3 seconds exist. But imagine a 7-foot 1-inch, 325-pound athlete with elite footwork sealing defenders in a 5-out offense. Imagine him surrounded by shooters instead of mid-range specialists. Imagine single coverage because doubling means automatic corner threes. It wouldn't be identical dominance, it might be worse. And that's the paradox of Shaquille O'Neal. The flaw everyone points to, the free throws, the lack of range, never stopped him from dictating eras. It just made his dominance look unconventional. When he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, it wasn't because he revolutionized shooting, it was because he embodied inevitability. When he caught the ball deep in the paint, arenas collectively inhaled. Fans knew what was coming. Opponents knew what was coming. And still, it happened. That's rare. A lot of great scorers need rhythm, need space, need touches in certain spots. Shaq needed gravity and 2 feet in the lane. The humor, the personality, the nicknames, Diesel, Superman, Big Aristotle, those made him marketable. But underneath the charisma was a ruthless understanding of leverage. He knew exactly who he was, and once he accepted that he didn't need to be a shooter to dominate, everything clicked. The missed free throws became background noise. The 1 3-pointer became trivia. The championships became legacy. And when you zoom out, the argument shifts. Maybe the most impressive part of Shaq's career isn't that he scored without shooting. It's that everyone tried to stop him the same way for 15 years. And it barely worked. 4 rings, 3 straight finals MVPs, 1 career 3, and an entire generation of centers who had to hit the weight room because of him. That's not a flaw in a resume. That's a force of nature with a stat sheet.